why are some organizations interpreting that IP address alone constitutes PHI? This interpretation goes back to the OCR guidance and kind of the muddled mess that it created. So I'm going to quote here some of the guidance. And so the guidance states that tracking technologies on a regulated entity's unauthenticated page. So again, we know that IP address being collected on an authenticated page, you can easily tell that that would be healthcare information since that individual is signing in, you know they're a patient of a healthcare organization. So that's going to be PHI. So concentrating again on unauthenticated. That addresses specific symptoms or health conditions. In that instance, that tracking technology may have access to PHI. For example, tracking technologies could collect an individual's email address or IP address. And in this instance, that would constitute PHI. And so it's my interpretation, that's where the confusion lies, right? So OCR says in this guidance that tracking technologies used on an authenticated website, if they're collecting certain information, such as an individual's email address or IP address, that could constitute PHI. And everyone, rightfully so, that caused a lot of confusion. However, if you look further into the guidance, they make clear that not all information being collected on unauthenticated web pages constitutes PHI. So if you, again, it's kind of like you have to read the entire guidance in this instance to come to the conclusion that IP addresses alone don't constitute PHI. So OCR then goes on to state that tracking technologies on regulated entities' unauthenticated web pages generally do not have access to individuals' PHI. So they make it very clear that unauthenticated pages generally are not sharing PHI with these third parties. And so they do provide a couple examples that I think are helpful here. So if you're tracking someone's IP address and you're connecting that to the fact that they're looking for a doctor because they have specific health conditions. So say I have had migraines, for weeks, and I'd like to see a doctor for that symptom. And so I'm searching in there and all the doctors that are available pop up. That would definitely be PHI there, right? Like you can tell that Dori Cain is searching for some type of healthcare service. Another example that they use, which I think is intuitive, is you haven't reached that authenticated page yet, but you're on the unauthenticated page, and maybe there's a drop-down menu where you're saying existing patient, new patient, you're putting in your category that you fall into. And so those drop down, that information being collected on that drop down menu would certainly constitute PHI, even though it's an unauthenticated page. So looking at the guidance as a whole, I think OCR really does make it clear that information being collected on unauthenticated pages typically doesn't constitute PHI unless you have that connection that I am trying to receive healthcare services or pay for healthcare services.